When I was creating the video just a few minutes ago, I thought, oh, this is part 5, and then I counted the days and I went, hang on a minute, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday today, so this must be part 6. So yeah, welcome to part 6 of Paul's Essen diary, and this may be the penultimate one because we leave tomorrow. Me and Luke are going to be leaving Essen at about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then it's the long drive across Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, and then France to the tunnel, and then the drive the other side to get to Luke's house. And I'm going to be staying at Luke's on Monday night. So yeah, long drive back tomorrow. Not that I'm going to be driving. Luke's going to be doing the driving. I will very likely be falling asleep in the car. And yeah, we'll probably end up doing a live vlog when we get back to Luke's house, because that's what we did last year, and it worked quite well. So probably plan to do the same last year. Today's been a bit different than I thought it was going to be. So as many of you know, I've not been sleeping well over the last few days, and last night was a really long video log, and I was really hyper and excited and really good mood and everything else, which meant I stayed up chatting, and me and Julian stayed up chatting till about 2 in the morning. I woke up this morning with a really bad headache. Took lots of ibuprofen, and I've been taking ibuprofen for most of the day. The headache persisted until about 6 o'clock this evening. So I've had a headache pretty much all day. And based on how tired I've been feeling over the last few days, I thought, yeah, going to bed at 2 o'clock last night and not sleeping well again, I got up this morning and thought, uh-oh, I've overdone it. And today's going to be a complete mess. And as it was okay. I think perhaps because I know that tomorrow's the last day, I kind of felt like just need to get through today. And it was actually a really good day. So I demoed this morning. I did 3 demos of Frosthaven again this morning. I had a bit of a mad rush around the halls, picked up a few games, went to Luke's car, dropped a few games off, picked up some Jaffa cakes, went back. I was literally just sort of rushing around until the demo started. But like yesterday, did 3 demos of Frosthaven this morning, which all went well. And what was interesting is that if you've seen my previous 2 video logs, you will know that I said basically some of the games that I've been demoing, people have sat down and everybody's played Gloomhaven before, which means I just need to run through some new stuff, and they were fine. Then I did a couple of demos yesterday where one person in each group hadn't played Gloomhaven, while I had a group today where 3 of them hadn't played Gloomhaven. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge than the other ones, but it was fine. And the one person who did know how to play Gloomhaven, I kind of just, left them to it while I explained step by step the process of how Jill's downstairs got a rules problem with Joan of Arc, and it's not the front cover. I can't help Jill, I'm afraid. I've not read the rule book for the game, but if you want to send me a message on Slack, I'll try and get in contact with the designer or something. I don't know. Just tweet the designer. I'm sure you'll get an answer from them. They're downstairs playing the new Joan of Arc roll and write game with the one with the absolutely awful front cover. Might be a good game, but I don't know. Yeah. So what else has happened today? So I did the Frosthaven demos this morning. Now, this afternoon was an event that a lot of content creators got invited to, and it was called Meet and Greet. And I understand that this event has actually been running every year, but it has been focused around German content creators. So I think there's a guy, I think he's called Johannes, and he organises this event. And what happens is, basically, he gets the Spiel to give him a room which he allows content creators to come, and he advertises it, and he's got a website, and basically, if it's an opportunity for members of the general public to think, oh right, I fancy going and seeing such and such a content creator, and I'm a fan of theirs, I watch their videos, I want to go along to see them. Where are they going to be and at what time? And the chance of you managing to catch that person walking around the halls, and then a lot of people don't feel comfortable in approaching people and speaking to them. This meet and greet event is perfect for that kind of thing. And this year, I think they opened it up to English-speaking content creators as well. So there was a few of us there. I was there. Ben from 5 Games for Doomsday was there. Mark Dainty was there. The Ready Steady Play team was there. Stella from Meeple University was there, and it was nice. I mean, I told some of my patrons, but I told all of my patron supporters that that's where I was going to be if any of them wanted to come along, because this wasn't just a sort of networking event with a room where loads of people talk. They had tables, and it was nice and quiet. Now, Spiel doesn't have any open gaming area, so this was effectively an open gaming area, within a private room at Spiel. So a few people sat down and played a few games and things like that, and that was nice. And as well as patron supporters, I had a few people turn up who had just seen videos of mine and heard me talking about it on the video log that that's where I was going to be. And a couple of them came along and met up and chatted with us, and that was quite nice as well. So I was there for a couple of hours, and it was a nice couple of hours because I went there straight after doing the demoing. So it was a nice sit down, ate my sandwich, and just had a couple of hours chilling and chatting to people. I didn't know if I was going to play some games while I was there, but I thought, no, I'll just sit and have a bit of a chat. And then I spent the next 3 hours rushing around the halls again, meeting up with. While I was at the meet and greet, I made a list of all of the exhibitors who I'd not seen yet. And then I spent the next 3 hours rushing around and trying to see as many of those as I could. Some of them just to say hello, some of them to pick up games for me to cover on the channel, and some of them to pick up games for the raffle. As many of you will know, regular viewers of these video logs, I talk about the raffle at GridCon a lot. And I'm doing a lot of work for the raffle at GridCon. I'm spending probably at least 2 hours a day just walking around and picking up games for the raffle, and then transporting all of those games, I mean lots and lots of heavy bags, to one car, and then meeting up with Nilsson and Vashti, and we are carrying all of those games. So a huge thank you to Nilsson for basically making this possible. He's taken a lot of the bags full of games that are going to be used in the raffle, and we're going to be transporting them back home so that we can, and then he'll come to GridCon and bring all of the games there. So yeah, without him, I don't know how I would have got these games back. I'd have had to ship them, and it would have been really expensive. So yeah, I've almost got all of the games, I think, for the raffle. I've got a few more to collect tomorrow morning, but other than that, that's it. Got back, so I left the halls when they were pretty much closing at 7 o'clock. Got back, had food, and tonight we've played a half game of Heat. So I've talked about Heat before. This is the new Days of Wonder game, new sort of Formula One racing game from the designers of Flamme Rouge, which I'm a huge fan of. So we played half a game of that tonight. We just played a one-lap game, which was enough just to get a feel for the game and see how it works. So a big thank you to Mark Dainty from Noteboard Gaming for teaching us the game. He'd played it this afternoon, and I enjoyed that. I wasn't sure what to expect from the game other than similar to Flamme Rouge, and it kind of wasn't really. You play cards based on what gear you select. You don't have gears in Flamme Rouge. It felt very much like a motor racing game, and it managed to capture that feel about pushing it, whether you want to accelerate fast, and the card play mechanism was nice. I quite like that. Days of Wonder do good quality games, and this one was, as I say, I went into it not really knowing what the complexity was, but it actually came out that it's still a family weight game, but it was a little bit more complex than I thought. I thought it might just be choose a gear, play some cards based on what gear you're in, move around, bit of slipstreaming, done. But it wasn't. There was actually stress cards and there was boost cards, and you could choose to boost by exerting your engine, spending heat to draw another card, and things like that. So it was fine, but I'd possibly put it as a family plus game. Martin is asking Formula D plus cards. No, it's more than that, although I guess it's a track with spaces and you move around the spaces. No, it's more like Flamme Rouge in the way that the track works and the way that you move on there, and certainly the way the slipstreaming works. But yeah, enjoyed that, and then we played a quick one round of Scouts as well. And that's all of the games I've played tonight. And then other than that, it's just been chatting, which has been nice. Not quite the huge sociable event that was last night, where I came away with adrenaline pumping and on a high. It was just a bit more chilled and a bit more relaxed. And I've come back to the room at a reasonable time, and I'm not planning on doing a 50-minute vlog tonight. I don't know how last night's vlog ended up being 50 minutes, because we were 15 minutes in, 1-5 last night. I looked at the clock, it said 15 minutes in, and I'm like, yeah, I think this is going to be a short one. And then when we eventually got chatting and I started talking about stuff, I looked at the clock when we finished, and I was like, wow, that was 50 minutes. And, Julian's there in bed thinking, yeah, okay. And yeah, then we carried on chatting afterwards. So yeah, it was a very late night last night. So tomorrow morning, get up, have breakfast. We are leaving tomorrow. So we're going to leave the hotel. Luke's car is actually parked at the Messe. So yeah, we're going to pack the bags and basically head down to the car. And then we're going to try and pack the car. We are going to see if we're able to get everything in, because right now it's filled with games. It doesn't have the suitcases in. So when we go down there in the morning, we'll put the suitcases in and we'll basically try and repack it. I mean, my plan is to basically take all of the clothes out of the suitcase, and then we're going to be putting all of the games in the suitcase, and then we're going to be just throwing the socks in any other compartment that we can get. Andre's got a question which says, I really wish I could get this chat to stay on screen because it just keeps disappearing. Here we go. Andre says, any tips for the convention for a first timer going next year to Spiel 2023? I have lots of tips. I've been coming to Essen Spiel for a very long time, and although it's quite different now than it was back then and it has a different feel to it, some people prefer to stay outside of town and just get the tube in with each day or drive in or anything like that. Personally, I wouldn't like the idea of driving in each day, getting stuck in traffic, finding somewhere to park. I wouldn't want that. I'd want it hassle-free. You can get some accommodation fairly near to the Spiel, but if you're getting accommodation within Essen, I would recommend getting somewhere near the U11. The U11 is the underground line which runs from the Messe Essen or the Gruger, Halle, whatever, quite a way north. And lots of the hotels are just off the U11. But as I say, you can stay outside of town if you want to. I would recommend staying within Essen, certainly for your first one, especially if you were to go to any of the evening meetups or any of the hotels. Motel 1 has a lot of open gaming in there at night, and even the Premier Inn, where we are tonight, there's lots of people downstairs gaming. There's probably about 10 or 12 different groups downstairs gaming right now on various tables. So yeah, if you stay within the sort of boundaries of Essen, you can join in on those events, and otherwise you go back to the hotel on your own kind of thing. Yeah, Chrissy said take a big car. Yeah, I mean, it all depends how many games you're going to buy. But at the fair itself, you need to pace yourself. You need to do some planning. The Spiel app this year has been absolutely fantastic, and you can mark your list of favourites, make your list of games, pull the map up and everything else, and really sort of go through and make sure you certainly see all of the things that you wanted to see, but also spend time just walking around the halls. Don't fill your entire schedule with, oh, at this 9 o'clock I'm going to be here, then 10 o'clock I'm going to be here, then 10:30 I'm going to be here. Spend some time in walking around the halls, because you might find some hidden gems, you might see some games that maybe you didn't know what they were, and there's a lot of small publishers there. So yeah, take your time to go and look at some of those. My personal recommendation is not to sit down and get a full game of something. I personally believe that if you're getting a demo of a game at a big convention like Essen, the whole point of that demo is to get a feel for the game, get a flavour for the game, and see if it's the kind of game you're going to like. And you will probably get that within an hour to an hour and a half. I think if you were to sit down and get a full game of something at Essen and say, okay, we've just spent 3 hours playing this game, that's 3 hours gone. And the place is too big. There are so many exhibitors here. If you spend 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever, playing one game, even 2.5 hours, you probably don't need that length of time to get a judgment on how good you feel the game is. So my recommendation is short demos, hour to an hour and a half max. Make sure everybody at the table knows that you only want to play for an hour to an hour and a half to get a good feel for it, and then go on and move on to the next. Because yeah, there's so many games to see, and you're not going to be able to see them all either. And you need to also accept the fact that you're just not going to be able to see everything that's going on here. But other than that, all I can say is, if you are watching this video log and you are thinking of coming to Essen Spiel next year, and you want to reach out to me nearer the time and say, Paul, where are you going to be? I'm more than happy to share that information. Obviously, if you're a patron supporter of mine, you will already know that information, and you will have already received invites to the parties and things like that. But I'm more than happy, if anybody's coming to Essen for the first time, who wants to meet up while they're here, we can chat about things, then yeah, I'm more than happy to help. So what other games have I picked up today? Well, I picked up a whole bunch of Queen games for the raffle. They were very kind to give me a few games from their old collection that they've got spare stock of. So that's some more games for the raffle. I've also picked up a couple of games from Inside Up Games. So I met up with Connor this afternoon, and Connor's given me a couple of games as well, which are going to be put into the raffle. I swung by Arcane Wonders to see Robert, who runs the Arcane Wonders booth. And Robert's been a fan of mine since, well, for a long time. And Robert now works at Arcane Wonders, and he's really, really generous. So he was like, oh, yeah, you're running a raffle. Here you go, here you go, here you go. Is there anything you want? And I'm like, well, And I feel guilty when I say, oh yeah, I'd like a copy of that and that and that, knowing that that's three more games that I'm adding to my collection that I'm probably not going to play in the next 6 months and might not play in the next year and then might not actually ever play at all. So generally speaking, I am not accepting games from publishers that are just happy to give me a game for me to try it and see what I think. Not for any coverage on the channel, and I'm generally saying no to them. There are a couple of exceptions. So from Arcane Wonders, I picked up for myself a copy of Sherlock 13, which actually I wanted to pick up last year, but Robert had already given me a few games and I felt guilty asking for more. So Sherlock 13 is like the game Clue or Cluedo, as you might know it in other countries, in about 10 minutes. And it's a simple 13 card game. And I was curious about that one. And yeah, I picked up a copy of that. And also the Mortem detective game that I picked up at Essen last year. There is a fourth case available for that. So I asked for that. So for the fourth case for that. So yeah, picked up a couple of Arcane Wonders games for myself. And speaking of picking up games for myself, I picked up a copy of City. Is it called City Builder from Inside Up Games? It's a game that I covered on the channel. Played a game with Connor on Tabletop Simulator during the Kickstarter. And yeah, really enjoyed it. So I said, look, I really enjoyed that game. Is there any chance I can have a copy of that game for my collection? And he said, yeah, absolutely. I think it was called City Builder. And that seems a very generic name for a game. Correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody wants to look it up on BGG, it's by Inside Up Games, and I think it's called City Builder. Harold's in the chat. Thank you very much, Harold. So Harold's given me some chocolates. I've actually got them here. So yeah, if you read that, it's like Norwegian Kit Kat, but tastes slightly nicer. Because there's a little bit, the amount of milk chocolate is more than normal. So yeah, thank you very much, Harold, for the Norwegian Kit Kats. Agile John is in the chat saying might come to Essen next year. Be great if you can come to Essen next year. That'd be fantastic. And Jonathan from the Hexy Beast is saying that he's finally ready for Essen as well. Essen is fantastic, and I think if you're seriously into board games, you should try coming to Essen once. It's worth it just to see what it's like, and then if you get addicted like me, you'll come back every year. But if it's not your kind of thing, then at least you've been there and you've seen it and you've done it. Monica's saying that you want to, but you'd not be able to stretch your vacations that far. Yeah, you might need to save up your vacations. I can't believe that tomorrow's going to be Sunday. I'm kind of, when I got through Thursday, and I was an absolute physical wreck, and I was mentally exhausted. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to really, really struggle, or I'm going to get ill, or something else. And now it's Saturday. Tomorrow's the last day. It's all going to start getting a bit emotional. I've got through it. I've pushed through it. I've slept very little each night for various reasons. But I've not come down with a cold. My voice is a bit croaky, but I don't feel ill at all. I seem to have a fairly high constitution, which is good. Knowing me, I'll probably go home and get COVID. I don't know, But right now, I feel wrecked and tired, but not ill. And that's a good thing. And it's just been a really, really positive weekend on the whole, with seeing everybody and catching up and chatting and things like that. And some of the people I've seen this weekend I've not seen for 3 years, and it doesn't feel like 3 years. It feels like about a year, maybe a year and a half. City Builder, Ancient World. Thank you very much, Brett. So it was City Builder. Yeah, it feels like about a year and a half, and it's not been a year and a half. So yeah, we're 20 minutes in. I'm going to grab a glass of water. If anybody's got any questions, let me know. I wish I could sort of talk more about things that I've done today, but yeah, I've not done very much apart from just walking around and picking up games for the raffle, really. Oh, there was one game, wasn't there? Yeah, hang on. Resist. So the guy from Salt and Pepper Games came to see me, I think on the Thursday, or I was walking past him in the corridor and he introduced himself and he said, oh yeah, come and see me, I'm Salt and Pepper Games. You talked about Resist on the channel and everything else. I haven't picked up a copy of Resist yet, and I basically I think I'm going to send him an email tonight, because I've been by the booth a couple of times and he's always been busy or he's not been there. So I think I might drop him an email tonight and say, look, is there a spare copy of Resist? Are you interested in me covering it on the channel? If so, I can swing by tomorrow and pick one up. But because I've got very limited time tomorrow, if I don't do that, then I'll probably miss out on a copy of that. And that's probably, Resist might be the number one game that I would have liked to have come home with that I don't currently have, because I've picked up a lot of games, and that was one that was on my list that I haven't actually picked up yet. Right, next messages. Tobias is asking, did I meet with Tony Boydell? So I bumped into Tony at the Capstone Games booth. I mean, I've known Tony for over 20 years. Me and Tony used to play Magic the Gathering together back in the late 90s. So it's probably been 23, 24 years that I've known Tony. So yeah, I did see Tony. I did speak to him and say hello. And we've agreed that I'm going to be covering Aleph Null or Aleph Null on the channel. And I'm going to cover that for free because Tony's been a Patreon supporter of mine, I think, since I started the Patreon. And I said, look, I'm more than happy to cover the game on the channel, Tony, no cost to the publisher. But the publisher sold out, and unfortunately they've forgotten to put a copy aside for me. So Tony said, no problem. Tony's got some spare copies. He'll give the game to me. Chrissy is asking the personal highlight of the event. Oh, there's a couple. I mean, as you probably got the impression from last night's video log, I had a really enjoyable evening last night, but also the meetup on Thursday was also really nice. Getting to speak to people, the people who came to the meetup on the Thursday night, which was a really good combination of, publishers, other content creators, and people in the industry as well. That was really nice for the meetup on the Thursday night. So yeah, Thursday night, but also last night as well. John saying you might have to buy a zillion tickets for the raffle. Well, that'd be brilliant if you can, John, because then we'll raise loads and loads of money for charity. People wishing I have a good day for the last day of the convention, which is great. So yeah, thank you very much for that. But other than that, yeah, if you've got any other questions, let me know. What else was I going to show you? Oh yeah, I was going to show you some Stroop waffles. So I've been given 3 packs of Stroop waffles over the weekend, I think. Semi-Co-op gave me some Stroop waffles. Jerome gave me some Stroop waffles. Rene Raps gave me some Stroop waffles. If you also gave me Stroop waffles, I've forgotten, and I'm sorry. But yeah, 3 packs of Stroop waffles. I haven't eaten all of them yet. Now, there was something else that I got given tonight. So Luke was working for Greater Than Games, demoing Sentinels of the Multiverse. And somebody came over to the Greater Than Games booth and dropped off a gift for Luke. He wasn't there at the time, and me. Now, I'm not sure who this is from, but if this is from you, if you're watching this video and this is from you, thank you very much. It's clearly somebody who watches my videos and also watches Luke's videos, because Luke got one as well and I got one. Gaming rules, and so do you. And it's from a supporter of ours in South Africa. I can't quite read the name, unfortunately, but yeah, if this was you, thank you very much, because it was touching to receive this from somebody. And it says, sorry to have missed you on the back. So yeah, thank you very much. It's things like this that just make Essen a little bit special. And I'm not saying everybody needs to bring me, chocolates and gifts, but it's just appreciated, especially when you're, because I don't eat much chocolate or sweet things at home, and especially when you're struggling getting through the day, maybe that helps with the headache. I think I've taken about 10 ibuprofen today, and finally the headache is sort of still there a little bit, but it's mostly gone. It was probably about 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I swung by the Dice Tower booth, and Corey Thompson gave me some special drugs that he brought from America. They are ibuprofen, apparently, but apparently they taste like candy. So he gave me some of these things, and I took a couple of those, and then I was fine after that. So yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, Dan from the Detective Society bought some of these. They are banana-flavoured chocolate things, and nobody liked them, and they're fairly disgusting. But I quite liked them. So yeah, so I've got these. So thank you, Dan, for buying those and not liking them. Has anybody any other questions for me? I don't think they have. Whose booth were you most impressed with? Oh, good question. It's not. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to answer that question straight away. But a lot of publishers do put a lot of effort into making their booths look nice. Not as much as Gen Con. At Gen Con, they go completely overboard and they get scenery and flashing lights and erupting volcanoes and all sorts of things like that. But some of the booths here are quite impressive. The Chip Theory Games booth is just it just looks really sleek and professional. The CGE booth and everything like that, that looks really professional. There are a lot of them that look very nice. I'm going to throw that question open to all the people. If you're watching this video either live or you're watching this afterwards, whose booth impressed you the most in terms of the visual appearance of it? Heather is asking, what is a street waffle? No, it's a stroop waffle. Brett said, yeah, stroop waffle. They're from the Netherlands. I don't know if you can see there on the label. There you go, stroop waffles. So yeah, so that's what they are. What other messages have we got? Choco bananas taste of artificial bananas. Yeah, they definitely don't taste like real bananas, I can tell you that. Yeah, I don't eat much chocolate or sweets. I was the biggest Jaffa Cakes consumer in the UK. I will probably have maybe one Jaffa Cake a day. I have a Jaffa Cake in my porridge each morning, which might sound strange, but that's a whole other story we can talk about at another time. And I may have another Jaffa Cake, so I'll probably go through a pack of Jaffa Cakes, which is like this size. I'll probably go through a pack of these in a week, because yeah, it comes with 10. I probably have 5 or 6 days. Street waffle sales go way up in the Netherlands the week before Essen. That's because people are buying them to bring to Essen to give to people. There is a high Dutch contingent at Essen. Certainly, the demos that I've run, there is a very high percentage of people here. It's interesting. I sat down today with 2 of my patron supporters, Paul Allwood and Tony, and 2 other people for one of the Gloomhaven demos. So Frosthaven. The Frosthaven demo that I ran with 3 people who hadn't played before and 1 who had. Paul is the one who'd played before, and the other 3 hadn't. So Tony, patron supporter of mine, lives near Brussels, and during the Frosthaven demo, it turns out that the other 2 people that were sat at the table also came from Brussels. So that's quite nice. Essen has this thing where people sort of meet up and get together and share common things, and it seems to happen more often than you would think for such a wide variety of people that are here. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap things up now. What were the things that I was going to do? First of all, I probably should do a bit of packing because this room is a complete and utter mess and there's stuff everywhere, and I know I'm not going to want to do it in the morning. So I'm going to probably do a little bit of tidying. Then I'm going to drop an email to the guy from Salt and Pepper Games to say, any chance I can pick up a copy of Resist, I'll swing by tomorrow morning. Other than that, I think that's it. Trying to avoid reading the internet at the moment because I'm a Formula One fan and it is a Formula One race weekend, so I try and avoid going to any news websites in case I see something. I will browse a couple of Facebook groups, go through all the board game related stuff and things like that. But yeah, I'm going to avoid looking at the news until I get back home on Monday. Did I tell everybody yesterday my copy of Frostpunk arrived? I don't know if I did, but if I did, apologies for repeating it, but my copy of Frostpunk has arrived. It was sent directly from China. It was supposed to be arriving on Monday, and it actually got here yesterday. So Vicky opened it and has put a picture on Slack, and yeah, copy of Frostpunk is at home, which is very, very exciting. San is saying he's been to Essen on Friday and noticed that quite some big titles were already sold out. Did I notice this at all? Yes, absolutely. There have been a number of titles that have sold out at Essen. One of them, I believe, is a game called Cat in a Box or something, but they had 36 copies. Okay, Great Western Trail Argentina they were selling 50 copies a day. So there are certain games at Essen which have sold out because they had very, very limited supplies. Then you have other games like Lacrimosa, where I believe they had a lot of copies, but that sold out. Revive also sold out. Woodcraft, I think, has also sold out now. I think it has. They had like 1,800. Willem is saying Horizons of Spirit Island sold out on Friday. So yes, there are a lot of games that sell out on either the Thursday or the Friday, but they tend to be the ones with low stock. Or the title is really popular, like Lacrimosa, Revive, Woodcraft, things like that. Starship Captains hasn't sold out. Does that mean it's not a good game? Does that mean it's not a popular game? No, absolutely. It just means that CGE brought enough stock. CGE had thousands of copies of Starship Captains made, so you're not going to see any headlines, I don't think, saying Starship Captains sold out, which might sound good and it might raise the hype, but they just brought enough copies. And Starship Captains is a game which I see being talked about everywhere. I see people carrying copies of it everywhere, and I see people playing it everywhere. So it's not that it isn't a popular game, it's just that they brought enough copies. Harold is saying that Red Cathedral and the expansion sold out. Um, and Starship Captains was a lot of fun. They did shorter demos, by the way. Yes. So, I mean, my involvement with CGE has been, it goes back many, many, many years. And many, 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 many years ago, I was basically influencing. I'm going to take credit for this, or at least partial credit for it. But CGE know my style of doing demos, and I pretty much talked to them, and I think I helped persuade them that you need to do the style of demos where you learn the game while you're playing it, you get drip fed the information, it's a demo, and it really makes me pleased to see, even though I'm not a part of the CGE demo team anymore, there's like 30 demo staff all demoing the game, and they're all following my teachings, as it were, my solution to demoing games at a convention. So yeah, that's quite nice to see. They've obviously taken it and tweaked it and things like that, but yeah. What's the best new mechanism that you saw in a game this year? I haven't been playing many games, I'm afraid, so I can't really say that. You know, I've played very few games in the last couple of days, so it's tricky for me to say what's the best new mechanism that I've seen. You need to ask me that question nearer the end of the year when I've had a chance to play through a lot more of the Essen titles. Acropolis is a good fun short game, says Felikios, if that's how you pronounce your name. Acropolis rings a bell, actually. I don't know why the name's familiar, but yeah, it rings a bell. Anyway, I said we were going to wrap things up. So, yeah, Willem, one more question. Which game do I think will be the hit of GridCon? I think there will be a few. I think there's going to be a lot of games that are popular at GridCon. I think Starship Captains is going to be popular. I think Heat is going to be popular. We'll see. I mean, I will be publishing the figures from the library. So every time a game gets checked out of the library at GridCon, it gets entered into a sheet. And at the end of the convention, I can publish the stats on how many games got borrowed and when they got borrowed from the library. But yeah, there's a lot that I think will be really popular. Did I pick up Atiwa? I picked up Atiwa on the Wednesday. So yes, I absolutely 100% have a copy of Atiwa because I picked that up on Wednesday. I don't know when that's going to be covered on the channel or not. I don't Lookout Games don't do sponsored videos or anything like that. So obviously I need to prioritize the sponsored videos because they're the ones that pay for, this is my job, so that's what I do. But that doesn't mean I don't do playthroughs. Like just before Essen, I did Lacrimosa. I did Woodcraft. They were not sponsored. It's the Patreon channel that effectively funds that work. And thank you, Chrissy, for posting the link to the Patreon in the thing. So yeah, a lot of the games that I've picked up this weekend, I'm not going to get any sponsorship for covering them on the channel. So that's going to take my time. It's going to be like 1 to 2 days off my paid work in order to cover them on the channel. And that's exactly what the Patreon campaign is for. So if you're watching this video log or any of the previous video logs and you're excited about some of the new games that I'm going to be covering on the channel, it is the Patreon campaign that makes that possible. So if you are not a Patreon supporter, please just take a moment to say thank you to all of the Patreon supporters who effectively fund me and allow me to carry on creating video content like I do. As I mentioned in yesterday's video log, I would love to take a month off work and I would love to do a live stream every single day for the next month where I go through 20 new games from Essen and just play through them and everything else. I'd love to be able to do that, but I can't afford to take a month off work because I have paid work to do, which is creating sponsored tutorial and playthrough videos and everything like that. Any underdogs that didn't sell out yet, says John Fleet. I'm not sure. There probably was, but I don't know much about them. Most of my knowledge of what's going on at the convention itself comes from listening to other people talking about it. Because my view is a very blinkered view. It's demoing Frosthaven, it's going to see publishers, saying hello to them, picking up games for the raffle, and picking up games to cover on the channel. And that's about it. So yeah, we're all done. Tomorrow's video log will be live from Luke Hector's house, from the Broken Meeple's house, back in England. Not sure what time it will be. Might be 10 o'clock, might be 11 o'clock, might be 9 o'clock. I don't know. But tomorrow night, the plan is to continue this video log series with part Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7. I can count. Yeah, part 7 of the video log tomorrow night when we're back in the UK, hopefully. I hope we have a good journey back. I hope tomorrow is going to be a good day. And if you are at the show and you want to come and see me tomorrow, I will be at the Frosthaven booth from 10 o'clock till probably 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock. And then we're rushing around, packing the car, and we're going. So yeah, if you want to come by and say hello, that's where I'll be. Other than that, thank you very much for watching these. Goodbye from the Premier Inn in Essen, and I will see you all tomorrow night. Goodbye. Thanks very much.